Black Ops 7 Zombies is set to release in just under 2 weeks, but I have one big fear that I hope doesn't become a reality. How's it going, everyone? My name is Bearsy, and in today's video, we're going to discuss my biggest fear with Black Ops 7 Zombies that I really hope doesn't happen. And I just want to say really quickly that I really do appreciate the support on the recent videos. It's nice to know that I'm building an audience that's actually quite excited for this game, unlike all the negative backlash that has been happening within the Call of Duty franchise. So I really do love and appreciate you guys, but let's dive into this video. So let's actually dive in and discuss this topic, and before I actually do it, no, this isn't going to be a negative video. This is just going to be a critical overview with my video, how I tend to do every single one of my videos. But my biggest fear is going to have to be the maps. So you guys might be thinking, Bear Z, no, why is it not the curse mode? Why is it not the gameplay systems? Why is it not the HUD elements? Well, simply put it this way, is that those are just gameplay design elements. You know, what matters the most in Call of Duty Zombies to me anyways, and this really varies from person to person, are the maps. Now, when I talk about maps, you know, like, what do I mean by that? Well, there are a few things as to what I mean by the actual maps, you know, why I have a big fear for them going into Black Ops 7 Zombies. So, first off is the aesthetic of the maps. And I feel like the last two Zombies titles, you know, both Cold War Zombies and this current one, Black Ops 6 Zombies, has been lacking in the map design of Call of Duty Zombies. You know, I'm not trying to do any sort of nostalgia bait. I'm not trying to do any of that nonsense. You know, what I'm just saying critically is that these maps technically don't feel like Zombies maps. Sure, in Black Ops 6 Zombies, you know, we did have maps like Terminus, which really did blow me out of the water because it's one of my favorite Zombies maps of all time. Just the aesthetic of it, the vibe, just the way it feels like Zombies, you know, it really does feel like a good map. Then something else like Citadel Day More, which is also just a very cool location, you know, kind of reminiscent of Der Eisendrache if you're an OG Zombies player. But now, going into Black Ops 7 Zombies, you know, everything is going to be set within the Dark Aether, unless stated otherwise, because as of right now, you know, we really don't know. Maybe they could get teleported out of the Dark Aether. Maybe they could stay in the Dark Aether the entire time. Or maybe at one portion, a part of the map, we're going to be getting out of the Dark Aether. But what I'm hoping for, and no, I'm not asking for like 180-degree field of view, you know, random nonsense going on. I'm not asking to be upside down. I'm not asking for anti-gravity, you know, back in like the good old days. You know, what I'm really asking for here is just for each map within the Zombies, you know, map list that we have coming up for Black Ops 7 Zombies, that they actually just, you know, shuck it on me. You know, what personally, you know, and I don't know how much, you know, flack I'm going to get for this, but I've said this time and time again on the channel, is that when I was playing Ashes of the Damned during the beta, you know, the farm survival map, and honestly, with all the gameplay system aside, you know, coming from someone who has been playing Zombies since the OG era, you know, the only thing I really dislike about modern Zombies is the rarities, but some of you guys have said some stuff in my comment section of that video that actually makes me rethink rarities. But besides the point, it actually felt a lot more like Zombies. You know, you had the horror aesthetic, you had the, you know, the Dark Aether vibe, you just had a lot going on. It just really did feel like a Zombies map to me, and honestly, that really did strike home. Even though it was a small portion of farm survival with all those modern gameplay systems, I really did enjoy my time with Black Ops 7 Zombies this time around, and I'm really hoping that Ashes of the Damned can really bring forth this, you know, horror vibe, dark aesthetically vibe going on with it, just like I did with the farm survival maps. Now, my next point here, and it doesn't matter if you're a hardcore Zombies player, it does not matter if you're a casual Zombies player. I have both audiences here on the channel, and I want to appease to everyone. I think this point's going to strike home with both audiences here. The big point that I have is I want each single Zombies map, you know, within the post-launch season to feel different from each other. Now, in Black Ops Cold War Zombies, every map felt very similar to each other, just because they're all realistically facility maps and they all kind of played similar to each other while having different gameplay elements like wonder weapons and Easter eggs quests. Alternatively, they really did feel similar to each other. Black Ops 6 Zombies did this a lot differently, where they didn't really feel like facility maps, where they all felt different from each other. Like, you had a jail island, you had a medieval castle, you had an excavation site. You know, that's the part of Zombies that I really did enjoy with Black Ops 6 Zombies, is that not every single map played and felt the same. And this is my big fear with Black Ops 7, like I said earlier, because, you know, they are going to be going to the Dark Aether, yes, but honestly, what I don't want them to do is, let's say Ashes of the Dam, you know, it's this great map. It's the best zombies map out of all time, and they use it as their capital. What I don't want them to do is release DLC 3, which hypothetically, let's say it's a Vietnam map, and it, you know, it looks very similar to Ashes of the Dam, even though being set in the same universe. Because this Dark Aether, if you guys don't know, is pretty much this expanse place where everything from the Aether storyline got sucked in and, you know, pretty much stopped the multiverse. So what I don't want them to do, again, is, let's say, bring the Wonder Vehicle within DLC 3, for example. I don't want them to bring the same locations that they had in Ashes of the Damned to DLC 3, you know, hypothetically the Vietnam map. You know, I'm really hoping, and I think Treyarch is going to nail it out of the park with the maps this season, but it's still a big fear that I have, only because I really want this game to be so good with its post-launch support that I just don't want them to use other maps as capital to remake other maps for the future. And last one being is that I'm going to have to explain myself a little bit here, but I don't want them to use survival maps as an excuse to make future maps. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, we all know that survival maps, which is honestly a great addition to Black Ops 7 Zombies, where if you want to just play survival rounds, you can. If you want to play the regular experience, you can. But what do I mean by using survival maps to make future experiences? Well, if we take a deeper look into Ashes of the Damned, we do know that there are going to be separate POIs within Ashes of the Damned. While that is a cool thing in theory, which I actually really do like, you know, it does remind me of Transit 2.0 at this point, but let's say for DLC 4, for example, I don't want them to solely just say, you know, okay, what survival experiences are we going to have, and how are we going to make this map cater to those survival experiences? Let's take Janus Towers or The Reckoning, for example, because I feel like this is going to be a really good example of what I'm talking about. So let's hypothetically say that Black Ops 6 Zombies did the survival mode aspect for, you know, Black Ops 6 Zombies The Reckoning, and let's just say in their thought process, oh, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn Tower 1 into a survival map. You know, we're going to have ladders, we're going to have teleporters to go up and down the towers, and we're going to have all the perks on that tower. And then let's build survival map 2, where Tower 2, you know, is going to have the same exact thing as Tower 1, but it's going to be different in terms of gameplay because it's a different tower. Then let's add Tower 3. You guys know where I'm going with this. And then essentially they use those survival map examples to build and, you know, an actual zombies map. And if they go this route with how they make DLC maps in the future, I don't think this is going to be how they make DLC maps, but hypothetically if they did, it's not really going to feel like a zombies map, only because they're focused more on those specific POIs and adding interconnecting routes to each sort of place, and it's really going to destroy the flow of zombies. And like I said, while I don't think that's going to be the case, it would be easy to tell if that is the case, because let's say if we take the Vietnam map, for example, and it has the same POIs as, you know, Ashes of the Dam, obviously not the same exact, but, you know, you guys get the idea. It's just going to feel kind of weird. It's going to feel more opt to play a survival experience as opposed to the core zombies experience. But all in all, I really think that Treyarch is going to nail the DLC season, you know, this time around. You know, they really are going to go all hands on deck here. This just really does, you know, bug me, because I just, you know, really want this game to succeed, because, you know, I feel like the other zombies maps that we've had in the past are not as memorable as some of the ones we had previously. And, you know, if you guys are a modern zombies player, you guys are going to have your favorite map that you've been playing since Cold War, and you're going to remember that heartily, just like us hardcore players, you know, remember exactly what maps were our favorite back then. And I really hope that sheds some light here, and I really do think it's going to strike home here, but by no means necessary. This is not a negative video. This is more of a critique video, and I just, you know, this really is my biggest fear, but I'm really hoping for the best here. But that is going to be it for today's video, guys. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. We are getting closer and closer to Black Ops 7 Zombies, and I realistically cannot wait. I have never, and I mean never, been this excited for a Call of Duty game since like Black Ops 4, because Black Ops 4 Zombies was my absolute favorite game, and I'm really hoping it could top that. And I cannot wait for you guys. There's going to be so much content here on the channel. You know, it's just going to be a blast. I'm going to have so much fun playing. I really hope you guys can join me for the ride. You know, honestly, it's been an incredible journey. Let's keep this, you know, ride going. But I just want to say, if you guys did enjoy today's video, smash the thumbs up button, share, like, subscribe. You guys do what you guys got to do. But thank you guys so much for watching. This is Bear C signing off. Stay healthy, stay clean. Bye.